to complacency by lower oil prices. Two major brands bond for the island's biggest community event. And in sports, Warrens prevent Deacons from doing the volleyball league double.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. Prime Minister Fandel Stewart says Barbados is preparing to deal with the advent of higher oil prices on the world market. Those prices dipped over the last year to under $30 a barrel, resulting in millions of dollars in savings for the economy. But Mr. Stewart says that won't dampen Barbados's quest to put mechanisms in place for renewable sources of energy to lessen the importation of oil at prohibitive prices. He made the comments at Illawarra Court at a reception for repeat visitors.
We have had to import oil at some very prohibitive prices. It is true that oil prices are down now, but we're not being beguiled by that because we know they're not going to stay down. And when they come back up, we must not be caught like the 5 foolish virgins without any oil in our lamps.
Mr. Stewart says Barbados is a far cry from what obtained at independence in 1966 when sugar was king in the economy. That year, he says the island produced 175,000 tons of sugar and 204,000 tons in 1967. He says sugar officials are struggling this year to produce at least 10,000 tons of sugar.
We have modernized our economy, diversified it, and that process of diversification is continuing. We have learned our lessons from a too heavy dependence on the use of fossil fuels, oil and so on, oil and its byproducts. And we have decided that we are going to appropriate the benefits God has given us of year-round sunshine.
All Barbadians, regardless of their race, have reason to rejoice in their citizenship as Barbados embarks on its 50th anniversary of independence celebrations. This assertion from Prime Minister Fandel Stewart at the launch of the National Monument Competition at the Main Guard at the Garrison. Mr. Stewart told his audience there have been many strands over hundreds of years that have produced the tapestry known as Barbadian culture.
The fact that we all live here, most of us, even those of us who were not born here, have been here long enough to be influenced by our landscape, by our seascape, by our flora, by our fauna, by our topography, by our size, and by our social interaction. We are Barbadians.
Mr. Stewart says the European strand has dominated through thought patterns that is, for most of Barbados's history, with the African strand trying to assert itself fully just before and after independence.
Since independence, the African strand of our culture has sought some predominance. In the 1960s, going into the 1970s, across this region, there was much ferment over the issue of black power. And there have been energetic attempts. Ever since then, there were timid attempts before that to give some prominence to the African strand of our culture.
CBC's popular Q in the community officially welcomed a major new partner today. The party has already started at the Old Banks Brewery's complex in Wilde St. Michael, and it's from there that Ryan Broom picks up the story. Ryan?
Hi, good evening, Lisa. Well, as you can note out here in the background, and see here behind me, the party is well and truly on here at Q in the community at the Old Banks Breweries Complex in Wildy St. Michael. Well, as you know, CBC has a big new partner. It's called Banks. And earlier today, I got an opportunity to talk to some of the people who are making it happen. Businesses. Q in the community officially welcomed Banks Breweries as major sponsor today, with a massive Q celebration at the Old Banks Breweries Complex in Wildy St. Michael. CBC's Marketing and Corporate Communications Officer Diane Fort talked about the new partnership.
Oh, we're absolutely pleased to have Banks Breweries on board with us this year. I think they've wanted in for a little while, but of course you have contractual arrangements, and we've had a good relationship with our past sponsor as well. So we're looking forward to an exciting year with Banks Breweries. If you know Banks, and as you look around, you can see how they have streamed everything red, because that's what Banks does. They know how to brand. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity. Q in the community, 50 weeks a year, basically we're putting on an event. That in itself is a massive undertaking. So to have a company like Banks come on board, again, it's a major achievement for us, and we are really, really appreciative of them coming on board.
And event and brand activation manager for Banks, Julian King, says Banks has long wanted to get on board with Q.
It is really a request that was made from the people. So ever so often we were being bombarded with the question, why is Banks not available at Q? So we are basically just answering the call. Coupled with the fact that we were benefiting from Q before, because if Banks was not available within the event, you would find people going outside, and then other shops that would have benefited that probably would not have contributed to the execution of the event. So it was twofold. The brand is a strong brand, our brand is a strong brand, and we want to be associated with anything that's strong or positive, and we're better to go than to Q.
Herschel Innes is another company joining the Q family, and sales supervisor Gregory Yearwood says they're pleased to be a part of it.
Well, our involvement with the Q community basically is because of the fact that we wanted to be able to be in a position to give back to the community, to be involved in more community-minded activities. So hence the involvement then with Q community.
Consolidated Finance has also come on board with Q, and CEO and president of the company, Rolf Phillips, says it's a natural fit.
For us, Q in the community is an iconic Barbadian cultural event. We are one of the largest car finance companies in the island. We also do other financing products. Q for us operates at the community level all across Barbados, really well established, and we thought an alignment with Q will give us reach at the community level, both from a corporate social responsibility as well as a chance to promote our brand and our products and to tailor products for communities across Barbados. So that's the reason why we got involved, and we're really happy to kick off this first event here, and I'm looking forward to the other 11 events across Barbados.
And perhaps just as importantly, the people who make Q their choice every Thursday are also loving the new partnerships.
I'm happy that Banks now sponsor now, right? Banks and Deputy, right? I'm glad to see that there happen.
You like your bank?
I like my Banks and my Deputy.
I love it. I love everything about it. I think y'all should keep it here every Thursday. I just love it.
It's good. It's a good setup with Banks. So we drink some Banks today.
Ryan Broom, CBC News. Well, as I told you, Lisa, thousands of people are already here, and the party is going to go well into the morning. And if you can make it down to Banks Breweries Complex, you can follow on CBC TV 8 from 8:02 this evening, right after the news, and right through until 9:20 this evening. But Lisa, I invite you to come down, sing some karaoke with me, invite all the Barbados to come down. But from here at Banks Breweries, putting it back to you, Lisa. Ryan Broom from Banks Breweries Complex in Wildy.
Well, thanks, Ryan. It's unlikely that I will sing any karaoke, but I'll try to catch up with you a little bit later. Well, coming up after the break, the Health Ministry puts primary care under the microscope.
Enjoy Bonanza, a decadent candy bar, now introducing another perfect combination with added cranberries and strawberry filling. The Bonanza you love and the new Bonanza Berry. Experience richness you deserve.
Why advertise with the Barbados Yellow Pages? Get the facts. There are over 190,000 books distributed island-wide annually. Over 5 million online searches annually. Access to Google-certified experts to manage your SEM campaigns. The only multimedia company with solutions to market your business through print, online, and mobile platforms. The facts are clear. Your business needs to be listed in the...
Extreme Crazy Eights has joined the family with 18 chances to win on every ticket. Top prize of $108,000. New bonus play area and thousands of prizes to be won.
The Health Ministry is undertaking an in-depth review of the primary care in Barbados. This information from Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kenneth George, who says the review is based on the recommendations of the Task Force on Primary Health Care. He made the comments at the 79th Annual General Meeting of the Barbados Nurses Association at the Accra Beach Hotel.
We recognize that in an effort to reduce the levels of persons living with non-communicable diseases, more time and effort will have to be placed and dedicated to primary care. Primary care frequently starts with the nursing profession because more often than not, you are the first persons who come in contact with someone seeking medical care. In some instances, you are the last person who comes in contact with a patient at a secondary or tertiary level.
Dr. George has lauded the work of nurses over the years, including late icon Dame Nita Barrow, who was Barbados' first female Governor General. Dame Nita served regionally and internationally in the vanguard of the profession.
Her appointment in 1964 as nursing advisor to the World Health Organization and subsequently to the Pan American Health Organization availed her the wonderful opportunity to serve the region she loved as a principal advisor to 16 Caribbean governments and sparked off a long, productive career in the United Nations system. Dame Nita was recognized internationally as an authority in public health and health education, producing several publications on issues pertaining to health care.
After 2 recent deaths during childbirth, the Barbados Nurses Association wants the authorities to try and ensure this doesn't happen again. This as it expressed sadness at the recent deaths of the 2 women, noting that such incidents can be prevented with proper measures in place. The comments from President of the BNA, Blondell Mullen, while praising the work of midwives.
Here in Barbados, these can continually be prevented with increased staffing, ongoing training, better workforce management and planning, and promoting the value and importance of midwives. It would be remiss of the midwives group not to pause and reflect on the 2 recent maternal deaths and simultaneously salute the outstanding care that our midwives continue to provide amidst the aforementioned challenges.
Ms. Mullen is also concerned about nurses working without adequate supplies, the late payment of salaries, lack of uniforms, and non-appointments. She contends that if the nurses cannot be paid properly or on time, at least they should have good working conditions. Lawmen are investigating the circumstances surrounding the unnatural death of 20-year-old Chad Hope of Welch Mahal, St. Thomas. They say about 6:30 this morning, Hope's body was discovered in a house at Sweet Vale, St. George by one of its occupants. Paramedics from the ambulance service responded to the call for help. Lawmen say the cause of death is unknown and is being treated as unnatural until a post-mortem is conducted. An engineer with the Barbados Water Authority is confident the utility will put a huge dent in its energy bill when the overhaul of the island's pumping stations is complete. Nathan Hart, project engineer with the BWA's Project Execution Unit, gave an assessment as he led a team installing new equipment at the Hampton pumping station in St. Philip. He says the authority's electricity bill is approximately $2 to $3 million per month, but he explains that the new variable frequency drives will help the BWA better control its operations.
When the demand is high, the pumps will operate at 100%. When the demand is low, what the equipment will do is reduce the pumping rate so that there is a correlation between the demand and how the pumps operate. What it will also do is make sure the VFDs that we are putting in will ensure that they are not too much burst or minimize the amount of burst mains that we have, so that at night when the demand is much less, what will happen is that the pumps will actually slow down. So there's a correlation between the pressure in the system and how we are going to slow down the pumps using the new VFD system. So there's a whole network of controls that is happening throughout the entire island.
Some hotels on the south coast have indeed registered cancellations due to the scare caused by the presence of the Zika virus on the island. However, the fallout has reportedly not been major. Confirmation of this from Paul Cullimore, operations manager at Ocean Stew Resort, in a direct response from hoteliers about the situation. The news comes as Ocean 2, Sandals and Time Out in the Gap, along with other hotels and businesses, take matters into their own hand to combat the spread of Zika. They've launched a major cleanup and vector eradication campaign for St. Lawrence Gap.
With the awareness out there that Zika, there were some cases in Barbados, we certainly would have had some calls, and I think from all the partners, the business partners, certainly the hoteliers present at the meeting on Monday, they indicated that yes, they have received cancellations and also calls in terms of what hotels are doing to take preventative steps.
Mr. Cullimore says, however, there has been no indication of panic among visitors. Well, still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region. Stay with us.
Presidia, the personal accident coverage from Guardian Life. Live secure. Live easy.